Hello again, everyone. This is Gilmer, and this is episode 67 of my Let's Play War in the East. And I know I have a couple of people coming over from the Matrix forums to check out what I've been doing, and I hope they're not too harsh on me because obviously a lot of them are a lot better at playing this game than I am. So they said they'd come over and just take a look. So I'm hoping that I don't embarrass myself too much, or haven't embarrassed myself for too much in the 66 episodes that I've put out so far. Although they might just immediately jump to this episode. So anyway, we're playing War in the East. This is the Grand Campaign. I am playing as the Soviets, and we can get a kind of a look. It is the middle of summer in 42, and we can kind of get a look at it. And for anybody who is catching up, just now catching up, whoops, I like it to be at this level because you can see the numbers, and it gives you kind of a bigger screen to see a lot of the different units. If you're just joining us, yes, we did lose Leningrad. That's my fault, and I know that the experts on this game know. I'm playing on normal level difficulty, but this is my first playthrough, so a lot of people, on the War in the East forums talk about how a Soviet player who knows what he's doing shouldn't lose Leningrad, but especially on normal difficulty. But that did happen to me. I didn't put enough units in the north, and they pushed me back and were able to take Leningrad. I forget when they finally took it, but they took it. But in the south, I'm doing a lot better than historically, but probably not nearly as good as people expect you to do. I still have Kiev, and I'm getting real close. I actually have taken back Smolensk. So, it's 6 in one hand, maybe 5 in the other, and 5 is the one I got. So I really don't have much more to do on this turn. I've used up all my admin points building rifle corps, rifle divisions, and tank corps. I think I built 1 tank corps, and so there really is not much else to do. We can get him closer. Oh, he has no movement points. He has nothing. I was about to say we can get him closer to the action, but I guess we can't. We'll start moving some of these closer to there's a brigade, 3 brigades waiting to be made into a rifle division. And during mud turns, I know everything I'm going to say probably in the first 5 to 10 minutes is going to be referencing the Matrix forums, the War in the East Matrix forums. There's some people that say that there is kind of a mathematical something or other during mud turns that if you know what you're doing, you'll know which units you can force to rout during a mud turn, no matter which side you're on. I don't know how to do that, but it seems a little gamey. But as we all know, that if it's in the game, I've probably been doing it. I don't know what's gamey and what's not, just for the simple fact that I'm not that experienced with this game. And I actually did not go through every one of these and check to see if they were in reserve mode. And a couple of them aren't in reserve, but oops. I just want to make sure I'm in reserve mode because I know what's coming. That's one of their. Let's see. Oh wait, we can do something like that, I guess. So anyway, I am, for anybody who's just starting to watch, I am using that doesn't look good at all. I didn't just do that. I thought I had just built him up. 12th Guards Tank Army, or Brigade. I just got a feel. I feel really helpless when I'm in a mud turn because everybody looks weak. And of course they look weak, but when they start attacking, they don't look so weak anymore because they look like they can muster up 80,000 men or so for an attack. So, you know, I don't know necessarily what to do at that point. Look at this. I don't want this to happen. These units are ready. Reserve, refit. I think this one, yeah, I can't change him. So let's go ahead and process a turn because it's going to be clear weather next turn, and that means that the Germans are probably going to attack for 25 to 30 minutes. So here goes nothing. No, I'm kidding. But it's going to be a long turn. This is going to be a long turn. They're going to attack on a lot of different fronts, and it's going to be a little frustrating to have to watch it and not be able to do anything about it. You just sit there and watch them as they're crushing some of your units, and you're just going, man. See? Immediately, they push them back over the river. As you remember in my last episode, I did mention that those guys sitting across the river right there would probably get pushed right back across to my side, and of course it happened. Please hold. Damn. Routed every single one of them. See, the summer of 42 can be kind of rough, from what I understand. We're getting a little bit of interdiction though, to kind of help slow them a little bit, hopefully. But as you can see, the first 2 or 3 attacks they did, they were pretty much easy for them. And that's what you can expect, I think, in the summer of 42. But once the summer of 42 is over, watch out. Because it will not be easy for them after that. And if anybody watching has anything that they want to see informational wise from the screens, all you have to do is ask. If you want to see the loss screen a little longer, I can do that. I can show it. The total troops, I can show that screen. Any individual divisions, I can show that. And of course we can take a look at the list of generals again to see who's got a winning record and who doesn't. And also we can there's a screen to look at the industry, and I forget now which one it was, but it's not that hard to, and it doesn't take that long to look at it. These guys hopefully are in really bad shape. Although this stack of units looks really strong. And of course this unit is weak as hell looking. He's going to get killed. He is going to be destroyed. I got a very strong feeling they're going to attack somewhere in there with that stack and relieve those units that are cut off. There will go my chance for routing them or making them surrender, which is what I really wanted to do. Because 2 of them, I think, are Panzer divisions. So that would be very nice to get them to surrender. I could be wrong though. I might be wrong on them being panzer divisions, but even so, 4 units surrendering, that would be pretty nice. And I don't know if a lot of you play this game or not, and if you get this black screen that I always get, but it seems like I get it in the AJOG games and this game. And I don't know if it's, common or if it's something that just happens to me, but it seems strange because it's happened across 2 computers now, so seems like it is something that happens a lot. We can only hope. We can only hope that they will not push us back and will not destroy us. They don't have very long to get it done in, though. They only have like 3 months before the weather starts turning and they start having issues. And we do too, but they're trying to attack and go through us, and we're just trying to hold on until we're strong enough to attack. I will say that, having read a lot of the posts on the Matrix forums, especially under the War in the East 2, it makes me think that I'd almost have to be a dummy not to be able to win as the Soviet Union, because it seems like most people think that the Soviet Union is almost to the point of overpowered. I mean, obviously everybody historically thinks that it would have been really hard for the Soviets to lose because of their production and the amount of troops they had, and the quality and quantity of their tanks. But even in the game, they say that there seems to be, I don't want to get in the middle of that argument because it seems like they're real, some of them get really upset over it, and I don't want to get into the middle of that argument. I'm just trying to play a game, just kind of trying to show people what it's like. Do a let's play on YouTube. There are a couple out there, but one more isn't going to hurt. If there's 3 or 4 out there that people can look at, or watch. So one more, make the total 4 instead of 3 isn't going to hurt anything. And one of my friends said he thought that just about everybody that does a let's play of War in the East on YouTube does it at easy level. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm playing at normal level, and it's been a pretty good challenge for me. This is my first playthrough. This is the first time I've ever played through War in the East in the Grand Campaign at all. I have played the Minsk scenario probably 15 or 20 times, which it's 3 turns, so big deal, and I always play the Germans on that. I played the road to Smolensk a couple of times, and I played the road to Leningrad a couple of times, and then I also played I can't remember the scenario, but it was a PBEM though, and it was late in the war. It was either in 43 or 44, and I played the Soviets, and my opponent played the Germans, and he kicked my butt because I didn't use my brain on that. I kept thinking he would get weaker and weaker, and he never did. And I just kind of wasted the first few turns waiting for him to get weaker, and me stronger, and it never did happen. And so I should have been attacking. I should have been attacking as hard as possible almost from the beginning, I guess. And I didn't do that. And so of course I think it was a 30 turn, I think, scenario, and I think we, by mutual agreement, mutual agreement, we called it off. That because I told him, I said, I surrender. I'm not going to beat you at this point. And points wise, I think I captured. I forget what city it was, but I captured one city, and he said, if you captured that city a little earlier, you might have had a chance to win the scenario. But of course, I was sitting on my hands at the time, so as you can see, I don't have a lot of experience in this game. And I haven't read up on it. I haven't read, as many of the playthroughs as I probably should, and all of that. If I had, I might know a little bit more about it, because some of those guys know an immense. I mean, I'm sure we all agree that there's a big difference between being a general in real life during World War II and being real good at this game. But some of these people know a lot of crap about how to play this game, or know a lot of information and know the best things to do at any given time. Of course, that was the one I think I said was going to get destroyed. But he didn't actually get destroyed, but he did retreat. So it's interesting to read up on what their thoughts are, because they're talking about, well, there's, if you know what you're doing, you should have this many losses, and the opponent should have this many losses. And I'm thinking, I'm not anywhere near those numbers. Yeah, but land-wise, I've done okay, except for Leningrad, obviously. But I feel like land-wise, I've done pretty well in holding back the Germans. And of course, as everybody admits, the German AI is not that great, because it can't really do encirclements. It doesn't do a very good job encircling the Soviets, and you just about have to, I think, as the Germans, do a lot of encirclements of the Soviets to win, because you got to make them lose a lot of troops and a lot of units. You got to be able to keep up with their replacements. And as I mentioned, this turn's taking a long time. They're probably going to do a whole lot more attacks. I could see them attacking this stack. I mean, they could even attack this stack and this stack, and probably not that stack, but I really like to interdict them. I don't know how well that helps me, but it gives me a good feeling. I think it slows them down some, hopefully. Maybe it saves me from getting attacked even. That would be nice. And as I mentioned last episode, this is kind of a learning process for me as well. I've learned, even in just 1 year of turns, 54 turns, which is 54 weeks, I've learned so much about this game that I think the next game, that if I play another grand campaign as the Soviets, that I would do a hell of a lot better than I'm doing now, because I know so much more about what I'm doing, and so many different things that I wasn't doing right to begin the game. And so now I'm learning some of those things and getting a lot better at that, and I think it's helped me. One of the things that they did say, another of the things they said was that the Germans can't cover the whole, and I don't know if they meant that just historically and not in the game, or if it meant historically and in the game. They can't cover the whole front from the north to the south because they just don't have enough troops. And the Soviets, even some of them have said, couldn't attack in real life across the whole line, but they said in the game that the Soviets can do that, which is interesting because it does kind of feed into my whole concept of, trying to use attrition on the Germans. And if I'm constantly attacking, they won't have enough units and troops to keep the dike plugged, so to speak. So that'll be something interesting. I do know, as I've mentioned many times, historically, the Russians attacked and eventually wore down the Germans. And even though they were losing, 3-1 or 4-1 in casualties, they were still wearing the Germans down to the point where, at some point, it was a breaking point for the Germans, and they just couldn't keep up with it anymore. And I'm hoping that that's what will happen in this game, and that I'll be able to start pushing them back. Another thing they talked about was how horrible the German allies were for fighting, being able to fight. They said they were horrible. They talked about their incompetence and their horrible fighting ability. So, that's another reason to maybe attack in the south, because most of their allies are in the south. Yeah. It's really an interesting game. At times I wish it would go a little quicker. It's really tough to do really even one turn an episode at this point, because the turns take so long. If you're going to just record for 30 minutes, it's almost impossible to do a turn an episode. So, I mean, I kind of almost wish it was at a level that you could do a turn a night and record it and get it online, and you could kind of go through it. Of course, I don't help much by skipping nights, which, I think that might help people who don't have enough time to watch every single night. It might be okay for them that I skip a night here and there, or skip a weekend. But I'm sure some people are like, if you're going to put them out, you should put them out every night. And it's a balancing act, and I can't. Sometimes I get home from work and I'm really tired, and I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because my job's an excellent job. They treat me right, and I work hard for them. So, but sometimes I get home, I'm a little tired, and I just don't feel like playing. So I skip 1 or 2 nights a week, and some people probably like that, and some probably don't. I'm amazed at some of these guys that put out 3 or 4 videos a day. I sometimes wonder, do they have a job? Because I think some of them don't. And some of them, I think, might make money off of this, which is pretty amazing if you ask me. I know that some of the big time guys that make money off of this stuff, but I think maybe even some of the smaller guys that I like to watch, who just do maybe war games and stuff like that. I'm talking like Das Tactic and a couple of others. I think they might be making money off of this enough to survive or live, which is cool. And he puts out a lot of videos, and he does a great job. I love watching his videos. Sometimes I don't like the game he plays, but when it's a game I like, and I like watching him and his Let's Plays. And if you've ever watched, I don't know if it's Das Tactic or somebody else. It might be. Oh, it is Pew Pew Choo Choo. If you go back and watch some of Pew Pew Choo Choo's very early videos, he's not very polished in those, but he gets polished. He gets really good at it, and I'm hoping that's what's going to kind of happen for me as I go along. That I get better at doing this, and do a good job. I don't want people to be disappointed when they watch. I want them to be, entertained and also learn something about a game that they might not know that much about. They might have it sitting on the shelf somewhere thinking I don't really want to, take the time to try to learn this, but I can watch somebody for 30 minutes one night each, every other night or so, and see what they do and see how it works, and if it's going to be something I can do, or somebody who's even possibly looking to buy the game, because I think that this is a great game to buy. I mean, I know a lot of people are kind of put off by the price, and let's be honest, the game's 4 or 5 years old, or however old it is, and they're still charging a pretty hefty price for it. But as you can tell, the price per hour that you play this game, it really pays off. You can get one of these FPS games, which I like FPS games. I'm not criticizing them, but you can get an FPS game and play maybe 8 hours and be done with the game. Now there might be some kind of online matching system, like Battlefield 1 and those games, which kind of extends the value of the game. But there are a lot of games that you play it 8 hours and you never play it again. And this type of game, you could literally probably spend a lifetime playing this game. If this was the only game you had for the rest of your life, you'd probably be pretty entertained playing it for the rest of your life. I know I would. And you can mod the game. If this is the only game you ever had, you'd probably end up modding it and doing all sorts of stuff with it to make it the longevity even be a lot better than it is now. Because a lot of the scenarios that come with the the expansions, a lot of those are done by people like you and me, and it gets added in. I know that there's an alternate grand campaign, I think, that comes with this now that somebody modded to make it either easier or harder or whatever they did. And there's so many different ways that they can mod these games. It's unbelievable. Used to you get a game and that was it, and somebody might come along eventually and mod it, 4 or 5 years down the line or so. But these games, they start modding it as soon as they get the game. As soon as they get it, they go, okay, what can I do to make this better? The people that do the map mods, I think they literally start working on it as soon as they get the game. They go, I'm not really thrilled with the map. I'm going to do something about that. And then they do it. So, 4,377,000 casualties or losses, and they're 1,671,000. I'm not that thrilled with that, but I mean, really, if you can, as you can see, I wonder how they got all these control of all these hexes. But as you can see, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know what I was about to say, to be honest. I completely lost my train of thought, because them having control of those 3 hexes just threw me off. But anyway, I'm right at the 30-minute limit. I timed that perfectly. I don't know how I did it, but I timed it perfectly because it stopped. Their turn stopped at 30 minutes and about 20 seconds. So anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Thanks a lot.